we're living in some intense times, and 2021 is right around the corner, or it's here if you're watching this in 2021. I'm inviting you to a web class that I'm going to go over all of the important features of 2021. You know, I did a forecast in 2020, and that forecast from 2020 was very prophetic in that the first several months, from January through like June, there was like 7 of the major events early in the year. We could see the intensity that was going to happen in 2020, and that most of those intense transits and events happened early in the year. Saturn moving into Capricorn, the other planets moving there again, and then later in the year we had the nodes changing. But these these annual forecasts are great for helping you stay in alignment. And so in this upcoming web class, it's free. All you need to do is register here at this page. You know, you just go to the link and then you click register, and then you get this, and then you select a date and time and register. But I'm going to be going over 10 of the most important shifts, and I'm also going to help you, regardless of your sign. I'm going to go over all 12 signs and the transits of Jupiter, because Jupiter is going to go back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius in 2021, and it's going to affect each of the 12 signs differently. If you're Taurus, it's going to be your 8th and 11th house ruler going through the 9th and the 10th house. Again, that's very different than if you're Gemini, then it's your 7th and 10th house ruler going through your 8th and 9th houses. Again, so I'm going to break all of that down for everyone on the web class, but I'm also going to go over several of the important shifts. Now that includes, again, the inspiration for your sign based on Jupiter and his transits, but also the eclipses. We have powerful eclipses next year that are happening in the Taurus and Scorpio axis in the summer, and then later in the year. Then we have a couple really profound Mercury retrograde cycles that are going to be very big. Then we also have a sort of Capricorn pileup in the early part of the year. A bunch of planets piling up there, an unseen configuration. And then we also have, again, these Jupiter shifts like I talked about. And again, there's about 10 cycles that I'm going over. One starts off the year. Again, you want to sign up for this because early January we have the first big shift, a new cycle of hope with the new moon in Sagittarius. This is really what I consider to be the actual New Year's Day, is the first new moon after the winter solstice. That's actually, even in classical Vedic Indian times, the beginning of the year. It's in the Vedas. It's in the Rig Veda and in the Vedanga Jyotisha of the Rig Veda and Yajur Veda. The new moon after the winter solstice is the beginning of the year. So that new cycle of hope, January 12th, I'm going to talk about that. Then time to concentrate, which is that pileup of planets in Capricorn that happens early February. And again, it's going to be pretty intense. Then a love and romance transit with exalted Venus from in March and April. Very important to understand this timing. Then social inspiration and hope. Jupiter moves into Aquarius from April 5th to September 14th. Again, he goes through Capricorn pretty quick, moves into Aquarius again in April, and for much of the year. Then he goes back in later in the year as well. But one thing to understand is that 2021 is going to be front-loaded again to be pretty intense in the beginning. But then we're going to see some things really shift and lighten up and feel much better later in the year. Again, we got some rocky things to get through next year, but it's not going to be as stressful as we might expect. But we do still have some things ahead, obviously. Mercury retrograde power. We have an important Mercury retrograde cycle, April 30th until July 25th. Now it's going from Taurus to Gemini back and forth in these two signs. And again, that's for almost 3 months. That's really powerful to have Mercury this strong. Again, it's Mercury retrograde, but he winds up in two really powerful signs, Taurus and Gemini, for about 3 months. Was that April, May, June, July? Yeah, about 3 months. And then we have a total eclipse of stability, which is that eclipse in Taurus, right? and that's June 10th. So again, I'm going to talk about this in great detail. Then we have the time to really reflect on our teachings. This is the Jupiter retrograde cycle. So Jupiter goes retrograde October 17th, or I'm sorry, June 20th, excuse me. June 20th to October 17th for those 4 months, June, July, August, September, October, right? Then Mercury retrograde power part 2. We have another intense Mercury retrograde, this time in Virgo and Libra. Again, very good signs for Mercury. So Mercury retrograde cycles are really strong in 2021. Again, because it goes Taurus and Gemini, which are very favorable signs for Mercury, probably the best place of the zodiac, except the Virgo Libra side of the zodiac, where he goes retrograde and forward August 26th through November 20th. So again, very powerful there. Then total eclipse of the heart, December 4th, this solar eclipse in Scorpio in Jyeshta Nakshatra. Again, this is going to be really powerful in this really powerful eclipse at the end of the year. And then transforming the poison, the end of the year, December 4th into 2022. Mars and Ketu are both in Scorpio. Now, these are the two rulers of Scorpio, so this is going to be really strong to have us drill down into our deeper, our deeper motivations, and to really develop a lot of discipline and all those Mars and Scorpio virtues. So again, 2021, it's going to be, we're going to have our intense moments, perhaps some of our rough moments. Mainly earlier in the year is going to be more, again, because of some of these transits through Capricorn and a few other things. But then later, again, as Jupiter goes into Aquarius, things lighten up. These Mercury retrograde cycles are going to be quite beneficial. We still have powerful Saturn in Capricorn, powerful nodes in Taurus and Scorpio, right? So there's a lot of strengths throughout the year. And again, Mars is going through a section of the zodiac where he's quite powerful. Again, he'll be in Leo where he's strong. He'll be in Scorpio at the end of the year. So a lot of transformation in 2021. But you want to understand these things. I'm going to talk about them in great depth. Follow the link below this video. It'll be somewhere on this page. And go ahead and register. Again, this web class is free. You don't have to pay for it. You just click register now and you'll get this thing will pop up, right? And then we also have a place to register at the bottom of the page as well, to have a great 2021, the same sort of thing. So again, I look forward to seeing you on that live or on that web class, 2021 Finding Light in the Darkness, free web class where I go over these 10 shifts, and also I'm going to evaluate the transit of Jupiter for each of the 12 signs through the Capricorn Aquarius axis, because that's where Jupiter is going in 2021. And regardless of what your rising sign is, you're going to want to know how this transit of Jupiter in between these two signs back and forth is going to affect you. And it's going to be different for each of the 12 signs, and it really breaks up the year into a couple different segments. So again, go ahead and register for that. It's free. I'm sure you'll really get a lot out of this. And you take care, and we'll see you on the web class.